we can talk to you about what you plan to use it for. But after that, you're on your own to put up your own content. You come to us for tech support, but we don't, we're not a barrier where you have to go through us every time you want to put a post. We trust the organizations that we create accounts for. So if we find something that's inappropriate, we would talk to you or pull it off, but we don't expect that to be a big issue.
So the students will have this also? I mean, this is all pretty new.
Well, in theory, because all the students have Active Directory accounts, in theory, you could give a student access to edit, but you have to give them the access to do that.
Connie, they would have their own SharePoint. A student could create their own.
There's two things that we have with SharePoint, and one thing is there's SharePoint.uky.edu, which that is kind of a site that affects UK employees mostly only, and what we do for our jobs, what we always do. There's academics.uky.edu, which is a SharePoint site designed for the individual colleges to have their own, and at some point it could be their public-facing website, it could be an internal team site where they share documents. We also have mysite.uky.edu. Everybody has a mysite, whether you've gone to it or not. We haven't really told too many people about it because we're just kind of watching it grow. But
you have now.
see how many people log in. You log into my site, it's a place where you can store your own personal documents, you can share documents. Everybody that has an Active Directory account on campus is turned on for a My Site. If you go to mysite.uky.edu, you log in, it will create a site for you. You can have a personal space, a private space. Under your personal, public kind of view, you can put a blog up, you can turn a wiki up, you can share pictures, share documents. On your private side, you can have just documents that only you can see, nobody else in the university, not even me as a SharePoint administrator. I can't even see those documents directly, which also means if people leave them, I can't get them back. But there's a lot of stuff that's out there that we haven't told too many people about because we're trying to make sure we can support each other.
Yes, Rhonda.
Okay, so I'm going to sound old here. I guess just based on what you just said, it's almost like we're promoting you're living at the University of Kentucky. So it's okay for me to have professional business, but also to have my personal business here with me, and you're actually facilitating that. I mean, and I guess that seems...
It seems contrary to what you...
counter to what I perceive as what's work world and what's personal.
Well, I mean, it's not a place necessarily for you to store your private MP3 documentation and all your pictures from all your family vacations. But, I mean, if you have private documents, that they may be work related, they may not be work related, you can put them there and they would be secure, but should you leave the university, they'll be deleted. You're not going to have a way to get those going forward or something like that.
But I think what you're asking, Rhonda, is also sort of blurring the line between what is sort of like something at home that I would do, like post some funny, like, oh my God, I got to get a haircut, or, I find that my daughter working my presentation gives it a sense of legitimacy, and she gets pizza. So, things like this that previously might not have been work-related material, suddenly, they're what really is happening in my life, and they are work-related in as much as I'm working on things at the university. This is my blog that sort of keeps me, when I want to yell about a printer, I hate printers so much, they're the devil, These things, while it's not classically work-aligned, I think that we're going to see more of these kinds of things. I think everybody has a Facebook, and one of the conflicts I hear from a lot of people that have social network sites is, I'm just not comfortable with having a Facebook because, then somebody wants to be my friend that I don't feel it's appropriate, like because they are, for instance, running for student government president. Where do we draw that line? Where is it okay to say, well, should I accept this person as a friend, or is that a conflict of interest? And we could probably have a whole discussion about that. Yes, go ahead.
Not to prolong it, but I mean the conversation also about developing an internal networking community site for all of us to be able to connect with students. I think that's kind of a conversation that's coming up, and that's my concern is we want to be connected to students, but students also have a tendency to really reveal. And so if students are putting lots of things out there and somebody's not responding to them,
right,
and it's a cry for help, I guess those are the concerns I have about not being able to monitor that, and what's your liability? If we've said
right. No, those are.
We're wanting to facilitate this, we're encouraging this, but we know how open it is. And so what liability, what responsibility, it does not put us in a precarious position to be responsible for responding.
Yeah, and I would say, you know, I would say that similarly, you know, Facebook could be found liable if a student says, "I'm so depressed, I don't know if I can go on." You know, I mean, that's a horrible thing to say or to think about, but you know, I'm sure that is something that's posted as a status update on some student's page at some point or another. And you know, we have to say, well, are their friends liable then if something negatively happens, you know, to them because of that, or is Facebook liable for enabling their posting or for enabling their friends to view it? And I know university is kind of a wild thing, and I don't see anybody from UK legal here. I would definitely defer the question away, but I think that's a question that will come up. To be honest, I don't think we'll be able to dodge this bullet. Like I said, I don't think this is something, like I said in the earlier slide, that we can ignore or block or stop. I think that the socialization of sites are going to continue. So, some other questions. Jerry?
With the SharePoint site, it feels a little bit like what we currently would do within our office, where we all have access to the network to share documents and work on them. So I guess my question is twofold. Is it to our advantage to start putting all those documents out on the SharePoint, or is there a better way to access our network via the internet so that we are not connected to the network directly? We can get access to those documents working from a laptop or something like that.
Okay. Well, I will go ahead and tell you this now. Sometime this summer, we will be changing drastically. We will be going away from the Novell server and going to an Active Directory server, much like SharePoint. So you will be able to access your documents in a different way. Now, could we integrate that with SharePoint? Possibly. Do I want you to start dumping all your documents on SharePoint? Absolutely not, because you guys have a lot of documents. I know. So I don't want everybody to start dumping things on SharePoint yet. Wait until we can get our stuff up and going and see if there's a possible way we can integrate that so that it's a functional way that everybody can get to their things in a one-stop shop kind of thing. But that's going to be down the road. We're not even going to be able to get that server going until summer. So just as a heads up. So does that answer your questions?
Yeah, that would be helpful to be able to access all our documents.
Okay.
On the internet. That'd be great.
Other questions? Yes.
Back when we were talking about that, and Second Life being a fad that may go away at some point and be replaced by another Web 2.0 networking technology, the teams that are working on that now, how easy is it to translate the experience and knowledge that they're getting building the Second Life world, and when Second Life, if Second Life dies, you pick up and say, okay, we have all this knowledge and experience, now we're just going to put it on the PlayStation world. I mean, can they transfer the data? Does the experience transfer so they can build it in another environment quickly?
I would say that the experience transfers. Now, the tools are going to be different, obviously, but the tools are not going to be so dissimilar. They're still going to have to draw an oval for a head, and there's still going to be, a cursor with which to do that. So I think that their experience building the world will allow them to build other virtual worlds quickly. I can't say with any amount of certainty the ability to transfer from one world to another. Actually, I would say that's probably not entirely possible. But I would say building a new world or rebuilding a world in another area would come pretty quickly to the people that did it the first time. The learning curve would be pretty nil, I would say. So.
I want to ask another question about Second Life.